Well, Merry Christmas, friends. Ah! Man, I went back into my office because I realized I didn't have my mic on, so I was putting it on, and I pulled my hand back, and I knocked my contact lens out, and then I couldn't find it, and then I was praying to baby Jesus, and then I found it, and I was like, this was the Christmas miracle I needed tonight. So I'm very glad to see with both of my eyes right now. So, friends, man, we're here. It's Christmas. Again, special welcome to folks who are here who are guests and those worshiping at home and everyone in the room. We're here. Man, those who are not guests, who have been with us this December as we're making this journey together through our Advent sermon series, y'all have shared how this has been a really rich and meaningful time together during Advent. Yeah, for those who've been around, it was good, yes? Yeah. Those who missed it, please go back and check out just those 4 Sunday sermons in Advent. I'm sure you'll have some free time next week, right? So if you do, I highly recommend. But I do want to catch those up who haven't been around on what we've been up to. So previously in Advent at Salt House, we have a short little video. The Christmas story in Matthew's Gospel begins with a long list of names of men begetting men, but it isn't just any genealogy. This is Jesus' family tree. So before Matthew gets to the Christmas story that we know, angel visits and a journey to Bethlehem, Matthew places Jesus' birth within an actual family. And the real shocker is that there are 5 women who make the list. Women, which never happens in genealogies of that time. Only men mattered. But here are 5 grandmothers of Jesus. 5 women who made the way for the Messiah. Which is shocking. Why? Why would grandmothers be named too? And most importantly, who are these women? Well, we spent Advent getting to know them and discovered they aren't just any women, and they don't have shiny, sparkly lives. They are scandalous and surprisingly real. They are the real grandmothers of Jesus. These women bore labels like widow, prostitute, smuggler of spies, victim, outsider, daughter, mother, wife, mistress, and yes, grandmother. They showed us what hope, faith, love, and power can be. The real grandmothers of Jesus: Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, and Mary. One final grandmother to cover this Christmas Eve, and she isn't technically a grandmother of Jesus, but of course is his very own grandmother, capital G, capital M, right? Grandmother of Jesus. So this holy night, we are celebrating Jesus' birth and God come among us. And to do that, we're going to talk about the real mother of Jesus, Mary. You ready for some Mary? Yeah, okay. We do bring along with us Tamar and Ruth and Rahab, Bathsheba. They're with us, so keep them with you as we dive in. Now, this, of course, is the Mary, mother of Jesus, right? No woman has been talked about more, prayed to more, venerated more throughout the last 2,000 years than Mary of Nazareth. So tonight, I want us to note that one of the official titles that the church gave to Mary, and she has many official titles, but one was that Mary should be called Theotokos. Theotokos. Can you say Theotokos? Theotokos. Theotokos means God-bearer. Dun, dun, dun. I just love that. Mary the God-bearer. So isn't it fantastic? So Mary's many titles, including this one, the songs and poems that refer to her as many things like the spotless rose. You know, we see, and it just feeds this facade that we have about Mary as this like glowing, perfect woman on a pedestal, you know, who did in fact birth Jesus, the Son of God. Yet when we pay attention to the details of her story and get to know her in a different way, we see the nuances that are there for her. Not just holy mother of Jesus, but a holy human, real Mama Mary. And that's who we're going to get to know a little bit tonight, okay? Okay. So, for Mary, we first meet Mary in Luke chapter 1. As the angel Gabriel visits her. You know the scene, yes? So Mary's this young woman, maybe 15 years old, betrothed to Joseph, who's a descendant of David. And the angel appears to Mary and says, "Rejoice, highly favored one. God is with you. Blessed are you among women." And then it says, Mary was illumined in golden light and smiled with exuberance and joy at the angel's greeting. No, right? That is not what it says. It says that Mary was what? Deeply troubled by these words and wondered what the angel's greeting meant. Friends, notice this with me, that this is the first thing that we read about Mama Mary. She is what? Deeply troubled and confused. The Mary. In this glorious moment when a divine messenger greets her with blessings, she doesn't like it and she doesn't know what's going on. When the angel tells her how it's all going to unfold and it's all part of a plan stretching long before her and lasting long after, she doesn't grab a contract signing that she understands the deal. She doesn't pronounce that she believes everything that she's hearing and always has. No, she doubts. She wonders out loud. She asks questions. So this is unique to Mary, something that distinguishes her from the other grandmothers who we've gotten to know, the other grandmothers of Jesus. With Mary, from this very first moment we meet her, we are privy to her emotional world. Did you notice that? We experience her emotional experience. It may not stand out to us because Mary and this story, it's all so familiar to us, right? Yet within all the other stories that we've read up to this point in Advent, Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba, we are in some intimate details of their lives, right? Yet we have not been told what their emotional world was like. We were only told what they said, what they did. Again, not how they felt, not what they were thinking, not what their motivations were. Mary is presented to us in a new way as she is humanized. She's given feelings and voice and agency. As the angel speaks to her, we slip into her actual experience with her, okay? And notice, it's not all confidence and good vibes only, right? It's none of that. What does she feel? Troubled, afraid, doubtful, probably curious. She shows that, and she's confused. So for us to see Mary's insecurities when we first meet her, we see how God is intentionally including her real, genuine human feelings and response, showing us how to be this God-bearer. It includes all of Mary's tough feelings and real reactions and moods, the stuff that we often don't want to feel, right? All of who she is, as she is, authentically. You see that, yes? So when we stop to notice it, it's so surprising that the God-bearer is not described as joyous, excited, eager, capable, and ready, yes? We see this again later in the story when, 9 months later, as we just heard told for us, after Mary travels with Joseph over 70 miles on a bumpy road, a long and difficult journey while 9 months pregnant, Mary gives birth in an unfamiliar town, Bethlehem. The town is so crowded for the census that they're sleeping among the animals with a feeding trough for her son's bed. Then after an arduous labor, shepherds burst in. They likely smell of sheep and poop because they've been sleeping in the fields with their sheep outside of town, and they are chatty and they're going on and on about angels and light. None of this was in Mary's birth plan, right? But Mary doesn't kick them out, doesn't ask what they're doing, doesn't yell or break down in tears. Instead, it says how Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart, right? Again, in the chaos of the moment, everything quiets and we step into Mary's experience, into her inner world, feeling the experience with her. And she ponders. It's a lovely word, yes? As a kid, I pictured Mary head tilted, resting her hands on her heart, she pondered, is what But real talk, that's not the state I imagine I would be in if a group of rough strangers had just crashed into my space after I gave birth. That loving image of perfection, that's not the messy, swollen, exhausted, bloodied, stinky, overstimulating, overcrowded reality Mama Mary found herself in that moment. Things looked pretty sideways. And if it were me, the thing I think I would be pondering is whether this whole thing was a sham, right? This does not look like some holy moment where God just touched down to earth. Shouldn't the King of Kings have a different kind of arrival? So this is the mess, though, that Mary stops to treasure and ponder. That's crazy, yes? She does it because God, in fact, does have this kind of arrival. Not only does God include those tough feelings and the genuine responses and reactions and mood that she has, the stuff we don't always want to feel, But God includes and even shows up in the experiences that Mary doesn't want to have and wouldn't choose. God is born there in the mess of it all. So surprising, again, yes? So I've been hanging out with Mary for the last few weeks, just preparing for tonight, and I've never seen her in this kind of real way. I've always noticed things like, man, she said yes to God. Whoa, like that's always a huge thing. The ridicule that she faced as an unwed pregnant young woman, and that God was born out of a uterus and a vagina of an actual woman, that he fed from her breast, all of that stuff is just, wow, this is God. But this time what I noticed was how God includes her genuine feelings and messy experience. And then for me, real talk, I found it so hard to figure out how this piece of Mary's experience was actually worth a whole sermon on Christmas Eve. Yet I heard God saying it to me, and it really landed as true, and I kept spinning in it, but I couldn't figure out the punch of it, and I realized that it felt too small. It's like, yeah, look at how God includes Mary's unfiltered, unedited emotional experience, and even includes the chaos of God's arrival at the manger. All of that is included as holy. Whoa. But it also felt small to me. But I finally realized after much of my own pondering, it wasn't that it was too small. It's that it's so personal and intimate and close. This wasn't landing for me because honestly, I so struggle to believe that what God did with Mary, that inclusion and that embrace of her as she is, that God also does that for me. That I could have the audacity like Mary to feel what I feel, and that God includes it in what God is doing. Man, I'd rather keep it all out here. Arm's length, thank you very much. Let's talk about the big things about God. God comes to us in the vulnerability of a baby, and how this is how God overthrows empires. Let's talk about the big things outside of myself that don't push me to be changed. But that God embraces me completely, my full emotional experience, that God is in the messy chaos of my daily life when I'm cranky, when I feel hopeless or confused, that God is born in me and I bear God to the world by just being me? Nope, that's asking a lot for me to believe that. Yet I am preaching it on Christmas Eve because I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way, yes? We all struggle to let this be true for us, especially this time of year, in the over-sentimentalized, over-familiarized, over-consumerized everything of this holiday, to let an intimate word that God embraces our full humanity as we are and is born in our messy lives. Yeah, I know. That's hard to let it sink in as true. But this is what Mary's story asks of us. You see, Jesus was born for the world through Mary, Theotokos, right? God-bearer. But it doesn't stop with Mary. The plan of God that stretched long before her and continues long after her, we are Theotokos for the world now. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that became the God of Mary's womb is the God who is born in us this Christmas and always. So my friends, tonight is your official reminder of what has always been true, that you are Theotokos, God-bearer. That is you. You're a God-bearer, and you're a God-bearer, and you're a God-bearer. You are God's plan that has stretched long before Mary and forever on since, that how God shows up in our world is in flesh and blood. In you and me and these glorious bodies of ours, with their vast diversity of abilities and emotions and experiences, you are where God is born this night. Would you take a moment just to rest your hands on your lap, palms open, relaxed but open, just as a sign of opening to receive this word of God. I know it's small and it's intimate and it is for you. You see, the same embrace of God that included the women of Jesus' family tree, Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, that embrace of these ignored and marginalized women, that same embrace, it gets personal in Mary, showing us how God includes the ignored and marginalized aspects of ourselves and our lives. The embarrassing, broken, difficult, unsuccessful parts of things, like how we really feel, how chaotic our lives are. This is how we live as Theotokos, God-bearers in this time and place. It starts with our own vulnerability to be accepted as we are, to say yes even when we're troubled and confused. And then we do get to keep reading on in the story to get to know who this God is by learning from God in the flesh, Jesus himself. But the preparation, it starts here with what Mary teaches us, that God's movement in the world, it all begins in that personal, all-encompassing embrace of our God. So my friends, I had to recognize and face my own insecurities and hesitancies to receive that I am Theotokos, God-bearer, as I am. That's what I was doing this week. That's what I'm still doing. But I wondered what your insecurities or hesitancies are to let this be true and intimate and real for you, to receive this good news of great joy in you tonight. Theotokos, as you are. No shame, nothing hidden, all embraced. There is so much that can get in the way for us, so much that's in us too. I know how hard it is to trust that the grief or depression that we feel so stuck in, that it's included. If we've failed or fallen, when we've lost the job, the house, or the relationship, I know how lost and unworthy we feel when our bodies are sick or broken or they aren't working, or when we've received the diagnosis and the fear is immense. Or when we've been told falsely that our sexual or gender identity is wrong. I know when we are so overworked, exhausted, lonely, overwhelmed, we're hardly feeling any of our feelings, let alone letting it be included, right? But what is it for you? What is getting in the way for you tonight, in the way of God being born in you, for you to know you are Theotokos? God is born through you. I invite you to hold that question as you hold your hands open just with curiosity. And we're going to receive a song as a gift for us. It's about 6 minutes long, and it's a video that shows the story of Mary's journey. One last way for us just to get to know our Mama Mary. So you're going to hear how it's sung from her perspective, and we let her prayer become our prayer, that God would be born in us. So this is Francesca Battistelli's Be Born in Me.
Everything inside me cries for order. inside me wants to hide. Is this shadow an angel or a warrior? If God is pleased with me, why am I so terrified? Someone tell me I'm only dreaming. Somehow help me see with heaven's eyes. And before my head agrees, my heart is on its knees. Holy is He, blessed am I. I'll hold you in the beginning, you will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem, be born in me. All this time we've waited for the promise. All this time you've waited for my arms. Did you wrap yourself inside the unexpected, so we might know that love would go that far? Be born in me. Be born in me. Trembling heart, somehow I believe that you chose me. I'll hold you in the beginning, you will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem, be born in me. I am not brave, I'll never be. The only thing my heart can offer is a vacancy. I'm just a girl, nothing more. But I am willing, I am yours. Be born in me. Be born in me. I'll hold you in the beginning, you will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem, be born in me.
Let's pray. God, thank you that you are born in us this night, and that we get to be your God bearers. We are Theotokos, bearing you to the world in our holy, human, and perfect way. Like Mary, we too can treasure and ponder not the perfect moments, but the messy ones, for there is where you show up every time. So may we receive you and bear you to our world, this good news of great joy for all people, tonight and always. Amen. Amen. Whew. Friends, I invite you to let Mary stay with you and let that word settle. I'm going to invite our ushers forward to receive our offering, our chance to invest money where we want our hearts to go as our giving fuels our life together here at Salt House as we follow this way of Jesus, the Son of Mary, and his radical embrace and inclusion of all people. So this is a little different than usual. You can still give in 3 other ways. You can give via our gold joy jar. You can also text to give. And you can also opt to send an online giving, whether one time or ongoing. Indeed. So thanks be to God for God's generosity with us and all the ways that we get to live generous lives.